Hello, this is Michael Wojcik with a Rochester City Council update for October 6th, 2014. 6 hours of meetings today, and believe it or not, I actually find that to be quite a bit shorter than what I had feared. So I figured I'd give you a little City Council update. It's been a little bit of time, but I've been on vacation. It was wonderful. Um, Starting out with the Committee of the Whole meeting today, we came back with our decision. We decided that we were going to make the Mayo Civic Center ready to support solar in the future. The cost is only $100,000 today in an $85 million project, and looks like we'll get a pretty good return in the future. We don't know exactly what that will be yet. Key thing is once TSP and I had the opportunity to get together and speak through the numbers, we came up with some consensus numbers that showed in almost any realistic scenario the payback was going to be just too good to pass up on this. So I'm glad we made the right decision. Second item, we had our HPC update today and historic preservation, and a lot of frustration expressed that how did we get to where we are right now. And what bothers me is when we wrote this ordinance, we knew that it wasn't just local and state criteria that mattered to this, but that we needed to come up with some local criteria. And to this point, that has been completely glossed over, and I just don't respect any list that comes forward until we've established some sort of local criteria that we can look at. There's a number of issues that we have to hash out in the future, but until we set some sort of standard as to what is locally important, I don't respect determinations made at this point. And I think, I asked the Conservancy to come together with create what they feel are reasonable local standards, work with the HBC and see if we can't hash something out, because I think that's I think that we're trying to skip that step and it just keeps backfiring on us. So I hope that this helps move things along. Next up, we had recommendations from our taxi cab committee, and basically a number of things. They recommended a rate increase. We've been stagnant for a very long time. They recommended a flat fare from the airport to downtown. They made a few other recommendations. I had a few concerns, some minor things. They had an English language requirement, which I think is I think it's viewed very poorly by some immigrant communities, and we also have needs in the East African, Latino, Asian communities that aren't being met right now. And if those are met by somebody who happens to be speaking that language, I have no issue with that, and I just don't think it's worth codifying something like English required. I've always said if we're going to have a mandatory language in the state of Minnesota, it should be Ojibwe, not English. Next up, we had a property hearing on somebody today that had not fulfilled the requirements to get a rental permit. He had done everything. He had a number of issues, but he cleaned them all up except for one thing. He had to, attend our safe rental housing program and pass an exam, which is an easy exam. You just basically watch the video and you take it and you pass. He was so passionate about not wanting to take this exam that he spent 30 days in jail. And I asked him, the video only takes 4 hours to watch, so while you were sitting in jail for 30 days, why didn't you, watch the video then? I think even he kind of cracked up laughing at that point. But it's sad that it came to this. I mean, I think there's just some conclusions he jumped to that weren't correct. But what's really unfortunate is, everyone can look at this and say, yeah, we came up with an equitable solution. It's going to work out. We're giving him some assurances that he's not waiving his rights if he takes this exam, and he's going to take the exam and pass it, and then we'll get him his rental certificate back. But, it's all cute and everything, except for the fact that, I don't know how many dozens of, very expensive staff hours went to dealing with this person, and, another half an hour wasted time of the 100+ people who were at the city council meeting tonight. Somebody like this, I'm glad we have a response, but we blew a whole lot of money when we didn't need to, and I think it's pretty frustrating. I know staff's pretty frustrated by the stuff too, so it was kind of funny when you're there, but we shouldn't lose sight about how really ridiculous this whole thing was. The Eglers in Kutsky Park, they got final approval to do their garage. I'm a little bit surprised that they even had to come to the city council for that, but they were denied at the Board of Appeals. Bottom line is they should be able to get going on the garage in the next week or so. So I know that's been a long time coming, and I point back to our very poor comprehensive plan right now, our out-of-date comprehensive plan. The zoning district that the neighborhood advocated and created and it's never been mapped there is frankly just it would have completely eliminated these problems up front. It would have saved the Igglers many months. It would have saved them, thousands of dollars, and we continue to not act on it. And, right now we're in this planning process, and I know we're going to do some major rezoning probably when it's done, but in the meantime, it's just a really rotten situation for the Igglers to be in. Um, Mac Hamilton was in front of the council again. It's always a pleasure with Mac Hamilton. Here's to you, sir. Um, there are certain developers that when they come in front of the city council, I feel absolutely obligated to ensure that what they're telling the city council is in fact going to be done, and that means putting extra conditions in place. And like I say, we had some serious issues. We came in, and the Richard apartments were not built as they were supposed to be. We were told that the alley at 5th on 5th wasn't going to be used, and now it's basically been destroyed by heavy equipment. And, sure enough, some of the things that were shown in the drawing and important to the neighborhood, those aren't really coming true either. There were two things that Matt came before us. Before, one of them, he wanted us to eliminate the parking standard. Basically, what we did is we bent the rules for him, and we took the downtown parking district and we overlaid it on his property. And what that did is it saved him like 28 parking spots. He needed 28 parking spots less. Instead of 87 for his project, he needed like 59. But I remember that he was still 7 short from what he needed, so we put a condition in that you need 7 more spots that comply with our ordinance, and the city attorney helped us draft that language. And he wasn't planning on meeting that, so I'm very glad that I put that condition in there. And in the end, he did end up meeting that requirement, so we had no need to waive it. He had asked us to waive it, but in the end he did meet it, and I think we bent far enough on that one. I think he can live up to his end of the bargain on the rest of it. Second thing was the power lines, and this is just incredibly frustrating. You show the neighbors one thing, and you just assume you're going to do the most basic, simple things to make sure you have a quality site and project, and that's just not the way he rolls. That's my take anyway, and ultimately, instead of, the drawings showed some nice mature trees, which will never be there because the utility lines now are not going to be buried. He did get the city council to relieve him of the requirement that he would bury the power lines. The Kutzke Park Neighborhood Association was absolutely unanimous that it should be done as part of this project. We gave Mac Hamilton millions and millions and millions of dollars of incentive in this project, and he was supposed to deliver a higher quality project as a result of that, but he wasn't willing to put the thousands into burying the lines. And that's just that's not how I do business. I try to keep my word, and I'm disappointed that the council rolled over on this thing. And I've said it before, I've never taken a penny from Mac Hamilton. You'll never find my signs on his property. That's just not the kind of person that I think is, looking out for the best interest of Rochester. And he was very upset that I have the audacity to put conditions in place that would actually make him build what he promised to build. But there is perhaps nobody in this community that more needs those conditions put on there to protect the public. So I will continue to do my best and advocate for the neighborhoods, and I didn't get it done for you tonight. I mean, they just waived the requirements, so I'm a little bit disappointed by that. Another apartment project got approved up in the northwest part of Rochester, kind of where the new Hy-Vee in theory is going to go one of these days, and the apartment, it meets all of our requirements, but it goes back to we have terrible planning and zoning that's in place right now, and it's just a yucky apartment. I mean, I'm sure the building's going to be fine and everything, but the issue with it is you've got basically a big apartment complex, and you have it circled with roadways and parking all the way around the building, and it's not an efficient use of land. It's not an efficient use of taxpayer resources. It's not an efficient use of infrastructure. It's not a walkable site. It's a site that's designed for one and only one thing, and that's to be automobile dependent forever. And I can't blame them. I mean, they're following the rules that are in place, but the rules that are in place right now just aren't very good. So it's nothing against the developer. I'm sure the quality of it will be fine. It's not like it's going to be the Holiday Inn Express or something, but I just wish that we delivered projects that were a little bit more responsible for the community than what we're doing in some of these cases right now. The In the uptown area, we started a process in place which will lower the speed limits from 23rd to Highway 52 from 35 to 30. The latest in a number of steps to try and make that area safer for pedestrians, much friendlier for businesses. We want that area to grow and thrive, and taming the traffic is one of the best ways to do that. We did a lot of things that would naturally lower the speed in terms of how we design that area, but still bit by bit, trying to do every little thing we can to make that area pop. And the really cool thing is we've got our first multi-million-dollar redevelopment that's starting out shortly, and I know there's a few more in the pipeline, so I'm really excited about what this area is going to look like in the future. Lastly, the Schifolius project downtown, 22-story hotel. I know it had a couple hang-ups in planning and zoning, but my understanding is it's moving forward again. It's a great project. It's wonderful for downtown. We went ahead and created the TIF district today, and I congratulate the Schifoliuses on getting this project going. It's going to be a wonderful project for this community. I just wanted to pause, and I told the city council, you need to realize that we don't have the DMC plan yet, and we're putting a lot of dollars into this project, and these dollars that we're putting into this project need to count against our $128 million that we're putting in there. And we think that that will happen, but the only assurances that we have is we have to insist on it when the DMC plan comes forward. And I just said, if any of you aren't willing to do that today, you shouldn't be approving this TIF district. And everyone agreed that we're going to insist that it's part of that plan, so our dollars will count. And I'm very excited to see that project coming forward. It's going to be a great thing, and I think that some of the improvements that are coming out of planning and zoning are wonderful as well. So here we are a couple months after the demolition of the Kutsky house, which had to happen immediately because apparently Mac was going to lose money somehow. At least that's what Judge Stevens ruled on. And here we are on October 6th, and today is the first day that Mac's actually even met the requirements to develop. So I think I think the Judge Stevens got played a little bit. That's very unfortunate because I think I said Kutsky house, but it's the Conley house that was demolished. Really special home, and I'm gonna miss it. It was an exceptional property, and I'm sad to see how that turned out. I'm sad to see the Kutsky Park Neighborhood Association get stabbed in the back yet again by the city of Rochester. And one other thing I'd like to point out too, and there's going to be a discussion on RPU's undergrounding policy here in a few days, but every single utility bill that the people in Kutsky Park pay, even the poorest people in the cheapest apartment in that neighborhood, we all actually pay extra on our utility bills, so that when people build a new home, they can get a $1,400 plus subsidy to put their utility lines underground. The poorest people in Rochester are paying a subsidy to help the construction costs of the wealthiest people in Rochester. At the same time, when we have a major development project in Kutsky Park, and there are 83 units in there, that same subsidy would translate to well more than $100,000. And it's sad that we don't do anything to do the same kind of cleaning up in these core neighborhoods that we do in these wealthy new areas that are going in. And I think it speaks to some of the twisted priorities we have in local government now. A lot of people weren't aware of this subsidy, but I've got some background on it. And one of the things that I'm going to ask that we do is let's stop taking money from everyone in Rochester, including the poorest people in Rochester, and delivering it as a benefit to only those that are wealthy enough to build their own single-family home. And I think that's one of a number of issues that we're talking with at RPU. But, to the folks in the Kutsky Park neighborhood, I did my best for you. I didn't get it done tonight. The council, we did roll over on this one, and we'll keep coming back. We'll keep battling. Great things are happening in your neighborhood, and there are a lot of developers with integrity that are doing projects in your neighborhood too. And we need to keep the good things happening, and we'll lick our wounds from this one and keep going. So anyway, I appreciate all you taking the time to catch up on the city issues. I do invite your feedback. Working hard on broadband issues too, as you're well aware. But if you ever have any questions, just contact me, and I'll catch you next time.